The United States of Captain America issue number 1 came out recently, and it was one of those rare comics that broke through mere comic book discussions and made it to mainstream media news outlets, with different articles arguing what the issue contained. But what did the comic actually say, and how was the story overall? This is Exasperated Nerd Explains. News headlines started showing up everywhere with people saying the latest Marvel comic had the star-spangled hero declaring the American dream a lie that never existed. Then there were counter articles responding like a child saying, "Nuh-uh, it doesn't say that at all." Realistically, they both made relevant points. Here's the thing, I read the comic as I have read literally hundreds of other Captain America comics. I have seen the good, the bad, and the just plain weird. This is a terrible Captain America comic, but not entirely for the reasons showing up online. One thing Captain America is known for is giving big speeches, being an inspiration. This has transitioned to the MCU as well, where he has often been the one to inspire the team.
He's pretty good at that, right?
All right.
Even if the whole world is...
They even stole one of his speeches from the comics and gave it to Peggy Carter in the MCU. But I guess he could have still told her the speech and she retold it since now they were apparently together the whole time, but anyway.
Say no. You move.
The speech done with narration boxes at the beginning of this issue that caused the controversy is basically an idiot's attempt at being profound. It feels like a rough draft, it's plotting, and it's contradictory. It does say the American dream isn't real because dreams aren't real. Like, literally. So the counter articles saying it doesn't say this are being disingenuous. But he then goes on to say that there are 2 dreams and 1 lie. But that doesn't make sense either because he is trying to say there are 2 American dreams, one of which is a lie. Here I'm reading this dumb speech waiting for the third thing because he said "and" using, a basic article of speech. Someone show the author conjunction junction right away, it's an emergency. The author is trying to say there are 2 American dreams, but one of them is a lie. This dream lie, per the author, never existed. You get upset when you don't get it, is a white picket fence fallacy that can become, gasp, nationalism, and some people can be seen as different or un-American. That's certainly well-defined and completely clear. Oh, and this dream lie that does not exist manages to not get along with other cultures, immigrants, or the poor in its non-existence. He then goes on to say that good dreams must be radically shared with everyone. When something isn't shared, it can become the American lie. Well, no further elaboration needed. The second dream is real, even though on page 1 he said dreams aren't real. Forgetting that, here's what the author has to say about this good American dream. We don't hold or own it or touch it. We reach for it. We work, toil, struggle, and fight together. We may not reach it, but we never stop trying. Is this the Riddler talking to Batman?
He says, where is he?
Helicopter.
All right, now what?
What exactly does that mean? That's not defined either. And this part is great. He just said his good dream is something we fight for, and then immediately says the Smithsonian wants to put the Captain America shield on display in an exhibit called Americans Who Fight, and Steve Rogers says, I don't really love the name. What? Guy, you just said we fight for the good American dream. That's most of the definition you gave to, the one dream that is real even though dreams aren't real. What kind of first draft nonsense is this? You lose the thread from caption box to caption box. Seriously, just amateur level last minute middle school essay nonsense. Keep in mind, we are 4 pages into this sucker at this point. This comic hits you like a brick wall and leaves you with a brain bleed. And the worst part of this speech to me is the beginning, because it undercuts one of the best and most iconic Captain America scenes in the comics. I'm loyal to nothing except the dream. I actually said that once. This is referencing a Daredevil arc, Born Again, a classic storyline where Captain America's presence is brief, but profound, iconic, and boils down the character to its essence instantly. The character Nuke is going around attacking people trying to get Daredevil with an American flag emblazoned on his face, with seeming military and government support. Cap wants to investigate but is told to leave it alone, but he won't because he has ideals and is not a government lackey or answerable to their whims. This is when he says, "I'm loyal to nothing, General, except the dream." An iconic line which often shows up on top Captain America Moments posts, and then the author just took a big old dump on it. This is worse than Kevin Smith making Batman pee himself in Batman Year One. At least that was a biological function and not a betrayal of the character. It would have been like making Bruce Wayne admit he doesn't care about justice or vengeance, he just likes beating people up for fun. For those who don't know, Kevin Smith wrote a story where Batman reveals he had a quote-unquote bladder spasm by being too close to an explosion and flames from a famous scene in Batman Year One. Kind of tainting the scene for fans who love it by retconning Batman into having pee-pee pants as he gives a big speech. Moving past the opening of this comic and taking a look at the issue as a whole, it doesn't even get basic story structure right. This is obviously pulling a superhero loses faith trope, which has been used to great effect, though one could say a bit too often with Captain America, considering the Ta-Nehisi Coates run that just finished did this same thing. The typical storyline is as follows. Status quo. Event near end of the first issue to shake foundation or beliefs with a revelation or discovery. Then, subsequent issues delve into the revelation or discovery, but also show reasons for hope to be rekindled. The hero incorporates these truths in himself. Finally, faith is restored. The hero regains their fortitude and inspiration despite what has happened, overcoming this hurdle and ready to fight for justice. And yet, this story starts out with Cap being like, "Blah, America sucks." And by the end of the first issue, he runs to a gay homeless man dressing up as Captain America in painted overalls and being inspired, saying there's all sorts of Captain Americas out there. You don't start already disillusioned when the character is not disillusioned by nature. This reads like the beginning of issue 2. It's starting with the assumption of a never before established status quo. He can't even get the structure right because the author is obviously superimposing his view of America on Steve Rogers and starting out from a point of cynicism and resentment, which I'm going to go out on a limb here and say is not the default of Captain America. Defenders of the issue are saying Captain America has always been political and these people didn't read the comic. They are misconstruing the opening wall text. To that I will say that yes, Captain America has been political. Captain America comics start out by punching Hitler before America entered the Second World War and was very anti-isolationist. There have been Cap stories that have touched on Watergate and other events in history. Captain America has lost faith in the government before in the face of corruption and evil, but never the American dream. This author either doesn't have the wherewithal to construct a cohesive, coherent story, or they purposefully wanted to put their interpretation of America into the comic without even having the patience or ability to show why Steve Rogers is suddenly talking about the American lie, flying in the face of the character's continuity that was established before he was born and probably before his father was even born. If that's the point they want to make in the issue, you have to show it and make your case through the eyes of Steve Rogers. The author seems to think that it's inconceivable that someone could have a differing view and doesn't even bother. So yes, this is a terrible comic. It is trite, short-sighted, attempts to be overwhelmingly manipulative with laughably bad characterization, and honestly, just kind of boring. Well, thanks for watching or listening to that rant. If you agree or even if you disagree, please let me know why in the comments. Did you find the author's viewpoint as overbearing as I did? Please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more content. Thanks for watching. Bye.